Hey everybody, Steve here. It's another Thursday night, which means it's time for an AFR question of the week. So last week on the show, I asked everybody what their most memorable blown call in sports history was. There were a lot of great comments. Thank you to everybody who left a thought. In second place was Jim Joyce blowing the Armando Galarraga perfect game back in 2010 with 2 outs in the 9th inning, just 1 out away from the 21st perfect game in history. Jim Joyce blew a ground out to first base, and Galarraga would have to settle for a 1-hit shutout. Unfortunately for Galarraga, that was the highlight of his career, and just 2 years later, he would be out of the sport. Receiving the most votes, and probably not a surprise to many people, was the Don Denkinger call in the Game 6 of the 1985 World Series. St. Louis was clinging to a 1-0 lead and looking to win their second title in 4 years. And leading off the inning was Jorge Ota, and he hit a ground ball to the first baseman who flipped to the pitcher and was called safe. Replays would show that Denkinger blew the call and Orta should have been out for the first out of the inning, but that was not the case, and the Royals used that momentum to get a 2-run rally to win the game, and then they kept that momentum going with an 11-0 shellacking in Game 7 to win the World Series. And unfortunately for old Don, that would be the call that he would be remembered for throughout his long career, and to this day, whenever a major blown call happens in a sporting event, his name is usually brought up in the conversation. So for this week's question of the week, I'd like to keep the topic on blown calls, but I would like to change it a little bit and ask, what is your favorite implementation of referees or umpires in a tabletop sports game? For myself, it's got to be the umpire cards in Play.com's History Maker Baseball. The umpires are given qualities such as respected, strict, lenient, or questionable. And in the new edition of the game action booklet, there's actually a symbol on some of the results that's a pair of glasses, meaning that you'll refer to the umpire qualities to see if they've blown a call. So instead of getting that important third out of the inning on a strike, you may instead have walked a batter and now you have a runner on first base. It adds a really great twist to the game, an interesting aspect of course, because you never know what the umpire is going to call. So when you have a questionable ump behind the plate, going to lead to some interesting moments for the game. And of course, becomes even more interesting when they have a semi-questionable quality, which means that the ever-fickle decider die is going to decide whether he made the call or blew it that time. Alright guys, so as always, please leave your comments. Maybe I'll feature yours on next week's episode. Until then, get out there, have fun, play some games, and until next time, my name's Steve, and I'll see you after further review.